Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Sunday Night hanging right here on a Sunday, no less. Imagine that. I know, shock and awe. I'm Ben.
Right.
You're you, and this is us hanging out, talking about stuff that we like to talk about. It's wide open discussion tonight. We'll talk about amps, guitars, tone, music, concerts, all the above, and I don't know, much more. A little more. Let's go with that. Nice. We got a few people rolling in here. Let the chat catch up. It says we only got 13 people watching. I don't believe that because I haven't had only 13 people watching since like 2018. Just saying. C17. Just like that. But let's see as people rolling in. First in the chat, we got Keith H. He says, hello from top of the world. Nope. Oregon is not top of the world. I think you're just high. Just quite plausible. Dave Chase is here. Dan Gorman is in fact here. Mark Spurgeon, good to see you. Mark Spurgeon, all the way in the chat here. There's Asking Me Dave. Good to see Dave in here. L Bar J, that's Lee. Who else do we have here? Gracie Monkey Guitars. Awesome. Beast Rich 581. Michael Kraus. What? Great to see Mike in here. Hip Metal Works, always a pleasure. There's Matt from McCullum Music. Puppy Badass. A rare Sunday night appearance from Ed. Good to see Ed. Billy Baloney. Eddie Fay. That's what I thought people are coming in. Marcel Leblanc. Bonsoir, mon ami. Steve Razor Rose. Steve's here. Indiana Steve. Just going to start calling him that. There we go. Okay, we're caught up just like that as more people come in. Yes, Rob, RJ Ronquillo is in fact moving to Portland, leaving Nashville after 10 years. Hence the post where he's like, you buy my guitars now? Okay, thank you, bye.
Wow. Portland as in Oregon or Portland as in Maine?
Oregon.
Nashville's a tough place to live now if you're not in the biz.
Earl P. And they started doing a thing where, like at least where I stayed, where all the city lot, like they have these nice neighborhood lots that are, I don't know, half acre, quarter acre, whatever they are, but you can subdivide your lot in half, basically. So people are building these 4-story, super narrow little townhousey things in their backyard, and it's just getting very dense and very populated. You can't go downtown because all it is drunken women. Oh, sounds good. No.
Hold on.
They're all celebrating bachelorette party, and they're riding these pedal-powered mobile bars around town, and it's just traffic's a nightmare. Just saying.
I was there about 15 years ago. Went downtown and stopped in at all the bars and restaurants to see what was going on. It was kind of cool then.
And most of them are gone now. It's all corporate.
I went to a big corporate event out at Opryland. They actually rented out the Grand Ole Opry and brought in Opry artists and filled the place with food and booze. It was really fun.
Food and booze?
Nice. So Grand Ole Opry, even I, not being a country music fan, have respect for the Grand Ole Opry.
Sure. Exactly. Hey, it's Braxel. You did meet up with Pete. Cool. He is nice. You didn't even stay for the show. So this is a
short tour Pete's going on. If he's done by next weekend.
Yeah, it's only like a 2-week tour. But it's like 4 or 5 shows a week, it seems.
Wow.
William Da Silva. Good to see you. Unfucking Believable is here. We're up to 33 watching. See? I knew it.
So
I'll
tell him what I told you.
To meet.
I saw Neil Young on Wednesday.
Yay.
Neil Young put on a really, really good show in Detroit. Played some really unusual songs. First time he's played The Loser since 2019.
Wow. What's up, Brody's Jam Cave? I couldn't tell you what he played other than I remember after at least the second or third encore, we decided to leave because we figured it's over, 3 encores. And as I'm walking down the Mission Stadium. I was like, what did Jeff do? He didn't do Rockin' in the Free World? That seems a little odd. And then that was the fourth encore. So we had to run back up because he started inviting all the opening acts on stage. So it was Rockin' in the Free World with him taking a verse and Chris Cornell taking a verse and Eddie Vedder taking a verse. And I was like, all right, this is cool. This is really cool. And then we had to.
He encored with Rockin' in the Free World at this show, and he blew the first change to the A chord.
Yeah.
Neil blew it. I nudged my buddy. I go, look, he can blow that change too.
I always forget about the A, right? It's because the only time you play it, it's just for the turnaround.
Yeah, it's just to go back into the verse again.
Yeah, I don't even want to call it a turnaround as much as a holding spot. Hey, there's Bo.
Yeah, all it is just an A chord that held for 4 bars. That's all you do.
Yes, at the Pine
Knob. He blew it. But it was a great set list. He played Cortez the Killer, which I really wanted to hear, and he played Like a Hurricane, which I wanted to hear.
Nice. Michael Crow says, saw Neil Young with Social Distortion and Sonic Youth. The hippies were so confused.
I bet they were.
It made sense when I saw him with Pearl Jam and Soundgarden because they were referring to him as the godfather of grunge. So it just made sense.
He had some weird
Dinosaur Jr.
Nice. Brother Richard and the Stop Shopping Choir or something. It was really weird. It's kind of an improv comedy thing. You'd have to look it up. Didn't care for it, but they only stuck around for 3 songs.
It looks like, Billy saw the loudest version, Neil, on Dinosaur Jr. Whew. His Dinosaur Jr. is loud, and Neil would make sure to be louder. So.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Well, I was sitting out on the lawn at Pine Knob, so it wasn't terribly loud out there. But I bet under the pavilion it was fairly loud.
Right. Nice. Eddie Faces says, Neil Young, the godfather of grunge. I don't see or hear the connection. Really? Cinnamon Girl is like one of the first grunge songs ever.
Yeah. And I kind of consider Hey Hey My to be a grunge song in a way, even though it's kind of punk leaning. But if you listen to it, the octave divider and the whole thing is. Yeah, that one kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I go, I never realized that was an octave divider underneath there.
Right.
Yeah, it's a fuzz pedal and an octave divider. That's how he gets that tone.
Mm-hmm.
And an amp run full blast.
Exactly. Even Rockin' in the Free World was largely very grungy.
True. That whole era was that Freedom, Faded Glory.
And then when grunge hit, he comes in with Harvest Moon. That's so Neil.
Yeah. Although he did Mirrored Ball about the same time.
Yeah.
With Pearl Jam. That's an album I still don't get. It just doesn't resonate with me. I love Pearl Jam and I love Neil, but the Mirrored Ball just does nothing for me.
Yeah, that was interesting. Hey, Zach Thong. Good to see you. Dave Chase.
And then I got a concert this weekend.
Young. Nice.
Ooh.
CSNY would be a great show. Dave Chase. That's cool.
Then I'm going to a concert this weekend. I got Humphreys McGee here in Grand Rapids. A friend of mine works for the band. So if y'all haven't heard Humphreys McGee, you should. They're very, very good.
Exactly. Lee says, big time. Listen to Rust Never Sleeps.
Yeah, the whole Rust Never Sleeps is especially the second half of the album that's electric. Powderfinger and Sedan Delivery and Welfare Mothers. That's all grunge. For sure. Hey, Hey, My. That was the album that made me a Neil Young fan. Rust Never Sleeps.
I'm going to say probably for me, it would probably be Harvest because I heard it the most when I was young. Like neither of my parents were Neil Young fans per se, but at school, in electronics class, we had a PA system set up so we could listen to cassettes in class while we worked.
Sure.
And the only rule was no country and no rap. That's the rule from the teacher. Like, so basically classic rock. What's up, River Docs? Good to see you.
That tells me how young you are. Rap hadn't been invented when I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, this would have been like 89 through 92. Grunge was just hitting in the last year. And then I think that quickly got banned.
Late 80s is when rap first started with like Funky Cold Medina and, you know, that kind of stuff.
For me, the first exposure was Randy DMC doing the Walk This Way cover. And I remember seeing Aerosmith, not knowing who Aerosmith was, because all it was, you know, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. And all I could think of is what a couple of Rolling Stones ripoffs. And that was just my first impression as like a 10 or 11-year-old. And it wasn't that far off, which was kind of funny watching the Beato interview, how Joe Perry's like, everyone's trying to be the Stones. I'm like, you're trying to be the Stones! For fuck's sake.
True. No, they were trying to be Led Zeppelin.
Right? So
they failed miserably, but I don't know. This is going to probably be a controversial take. Other than a few songs, Aerosmith, I don't find that great.
It was interesting. Some people say, oh, you got to catch them live. I'm like, really? The live stuff seemed worse.
Oh, God, they're even worse live. They're horrible.
Yeah. Like, I remember buying the VHS
like Guns N' Roses.
Texas Jam in 78. And I was like, and a third of the set is Joe Perry playing with his talk box, regardless of the song being played. That's when I became a huge Brad Whitford fan, because he was holding the whole thing down.
Now, I saw the Joe Perry project open for Alice Cooper in like 1980. That was killer. But Aerosmith just does nothing for me. I like a few of their songs.
Michael Crow says, I'm from Boston and I don't like Aerosmith.
Good man.
Nice.
I don't hate them, but I just don't see what the big deal was, you know?
Right. Yeah, I like some of the stuff, but again, like I just saw them as another blues rock band, which I like. Like if you're gonna like the Stones, chances are, you know, so like Chip Away at the Stone. That's
I like that song.
Yeah, that's a Stones ripoff in many ways.
Yeah,
but in a good way.
But it's a pop song. It's not one of their blues dirges, you know.
Exactly. You know, but then again, it's like a lot of people dismiss the Black Crowes when they broke, because they just heard the Open G tuning and they're like, oh, what are you trying to be the Stones? I was like, hey, Keith Richards doesn't own Open G tuning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to. And Draw the Line, that's a punk rock song, if I've ever heard a punk rock song.
Oh, yeah. And Kings and Queens, the stuff I like the Draw the Line album, even though they were really messed up on drugs at that time.
Really? Yes,
you know,
my favorite project is with Chris Robinson singing.
I like Chris Robinson singing, but he's such a douche.
That's my problem. Love the Black Crowes, but man, he is such a douche.
I mean, I've seen him do the last project he had, the Chris Robinson organization. I saw New Earth Mud. I saw Black Crowes going all the way back to the mid 90s. And I love the Black Crowes, but I have a hard time with Chris. I even saw Jimmy Page with the Black Crowes 4 times.
Yeah, I missed out on that. I need to snag that live album. I have the DVD that they did, the Live at the Greek, but I need to pick up the album.
I flew to New York and saw him opening night at the what is it called? The theater there. I know the name of it. It's gone now.
Ooh. Zach, just go a block either way. Yes. Downtown Belleville's nice at certain points, but walk a block or two off and you might see all of a sudden you'll find all the junkies and such, unfortunately. But it is getting better. I used to gig downtown. It smells less like urine than it used to, though, ironically. More addicts in the area, but they keep out of the downtown core at night, which is nice.
Why is Belleville so fed up with, got so much homeless drug addicts?
Unfortunately, during COVID, the Toronto mayor decided to ship a busload or two down this way. Figured we could handle it, as well as other municipalities. Partially, I kind of get it because there was only so many spaces in Toronto. They literally had thousands of people,
Right.
because Toronto being the largest city. But as a result, it overwhelmed local areas, and this area was kind of a teetering point. It's been decaying. Like it's like John bad Mellencamp song, like former factory town area, much like I'm sure parts of Michigan, and nothing's replaced it. We had some call centers replace it for a while, but
Grand Rapids, the area I live in, has a substantial homeless
Chris,
and drug.
You can say it's Canada, that's why, but per capita we have very low drug addiction compared to other countries adjacent to us.
Says the guy with a joint in his hand.
Enjoy it. Nice. Hey, Richard Nangamitsu. Toronto isn't decaying at all, Eddie. It's still a world-class city.
Yeah.
It's just everybody has, for a variety of reasons, you're going to have a homeless population, whether it be drug addiction, mental health, simply wanting to live. Like, we have a long history of hobos, Jim. Remember, hobos would ride the rails from town to town, or we used to have like hermits, like literally there would be a dozen guys that lived on the outskirts of town, out in the woods. They had their little shanty and shit, and they pick up bottles for income. And
most of the kind of off normal topic, but most of the homeless here in Grand Rapids, they don't want you to take them in and give them living quarters because they want to be alcoholics and drug addicts. And in order to get housing, they have to stop, and they don't want to, so they live outside society.
Yep. It's going to happen. So there's that portion of the show, folks.
When you said there was homeless in Belleville, I'm thinking, in Belleville?
They literally all crowd around each other. Like, they'll hang out outside the soup kitchen during the day, and then it was interesting because a couple of weeks ago, I was picking up my niece from work. What's up, Abzu Man? Legend. And as I'm driving by the area where they're usually all hanging out, Jim, I was like, well, that's odd. They're not there. But then I drove down a couple blocks and I saw them across. I'm like, oh, they're all over there. And it was like all fucking like 20 of them all kind of hanging out with each other because that's what they do. Like,
what do they do in the winter? Because, that Belleville isn't exactly warm in the winter.
Yeah. They survive, a tent and sleeping under 10 blankets and do what you can. Okay. Fortunately, there isn't like a lot of empty buildings or anything for, squatters to move in and take over or something like that. It's not much of that. So,
yeah, Grand Rapids is so revitalized from all the downtown growing. There's no empty buildings.
Right. Well, you may have an empty building here and there, but it's not like there's 3 buildings in a row or half a block. If you have half a block, now you got a little nest area. So
plus, it matters how long those buildings have been empty.
Yeah.
Buildings
that have been empty downtown for, I'm going to say, 10 years, but they're kept up, and they'll put, if there's a board over the window, they'll paint something over the board so it doesn't look like just a boarded up window type thing. They'll even paint the illusion of a window with stuff inside type thing. Because it's all about, the illusion, your eyes, and it looks nice. Right. It is nice.
So are there any music venues in Belleville? Is there any bars that play live music?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes and no. It's hard to find a live band, per se. It seems like everyone's kind of leaning towards the pub vibe. Trio or less, like
almost like coffee shop stuff.
Like a lot of areas, we have a few microbreweries, so they have added on to have, say, a tasting room, which has turned into basically a bit of a bar pub. So I got buddies that play solo acoustic acts. They're busy as hell. Good.
Tired.
Shane, my old drummer, I've been following. Hey, he's been busy as hell with his cover band. Plus, it's funny, music in the parks now. Classic rock cover bands. They'll have bar bands playing there rather than, I don't know, it just seemed like always our parents' music. And I say that my parents' music, even though my parents.
How do the bands make any money doing that? Is somebody paying them? Or is it just a chance?
The city pays them. The city pays them. They put on a free show. I think it's 7 p.m. every Sunday at the band shell. You know, whether it's the Citizens Pipe Band once a month, and then they'll have a classic rock band once a month, country band once a month, and you can show up with the lawn chairs, free admission down at the park.
Because until the local acts can, get gigs at the bottom level, we're not going to have any big acts emerging anymore because you don't start at the top.
We did. Mark Rashad, shout out Mark Rashad, who owns the local big venue, which is a restored theater, 600-seat theater, I want to say. But like I've seen April Wine there multiple times. That's where the legacy acts come through, if there's going to be.
Sure.
And then he used to have a music festival, which is he brought back this year for the first time, which is literally in the parking lot next to the theater. But now you can have 2,500 people, say, or 3,000. I don't know how much the parking lot holds, because it's like the theater, and then it shares the parking lot with a little plaza on the other side. So it's actually a bit bigger. But traditionally, like Slash has headlined that festival.
Really? Wow.
Cooper, Styx. Like, they'll bring in some decent tour acts. This year, first year back, it was pretty much Canadian legacy stuff. Like, was it Trooper and Dave Wilcox? I ain't paying $70 to see those two people. Trooper was playing bars in this area 10 years ago. So,
back in July when I was working at those concerts, I know the promoter because I work closely with him, and he was telling me what it cost to book acts, and just a standard regular run of the mill 70s 80s band is $100,000 to get them to show up.
And people wonder why tickets are so expensive.
And then you talk
last time, like Big Wreck will play here when they come through, and I want to say tickets are pushing $100.
Yeah,
you're looking about 70, 75 US. But on the other hand, it's beautiful, Jim. You go in, they have a liquor license, so you can go pick up a cold snack if you choose. Now, you used to have to drink it in the lobby, but then they loosen it up. Now you can take it to your seat. Seat doesn't have a cup holder, so you're stuck holding an empty bottle or a cup during the show, but who cares? You can sit, and you sit in a theater seat. Not like your modern theater seats, but a traditional theater seat, which is comfortable. 600 seat, boom. Great show, great sound system. And because he's a musician as well that owns the venue. He actually plays in Jake Clemens' band.
Come through. They don't even, it's like they have a manager and they have maybe one roadie, two roadies.
Oh, it's very bare bones.
Very sparse.
He actually he owns what I thought he owned the local real estate office downtown, and actually owns a significant portion of the downtown core. Turns out he actually owns multiple real estate offices all the way to Ottawa. I was like, wow. Oh, okay. So, which explains, because I was like, wow, you're like a real estate agent. Like, I get it. You own the firm, but he's going out on tour once or twice because he had a Beatles tribute act he was running on. And now he's, last few years, he's played with Jake Clemens, son of Clarence Clemens from the E Street Band, his band. So he plays at the festival each year. Go figure. But yeah, I actually, last time I talked to Mark, I saw him at the last time I was at a show there. Previously, I saw him at a NAMM show. So I'm like, hey, Mark, what's going on? He's like, hey, I know you, right? It's like, yeah, kind of.
I have noticed a bit of an uptick in some of the mid-level shows lately, which are what I go to, because I don't really want to pay $300 to sit in nosebleed seats. I just don't want to do it. If I can get something in the $30 to $80 range, I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't want to go to an arena show or a stadium show again. I'm good, because it's either, for me, financially, I'm going to be watching the big screens. I ain't watching the people on stage, that's for sure.
Right.
Unless it has to be the ultimate lineup for a sweet deal type thing. But the last one I did was Tom Petty's last tour, and that was pushing $200, and I wasn't even down on the floor for $200.
Yeah.
But I only went because I wanted to watch. One, it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and two,
seen him twice.
The legend of Mike Campbell and him swapping out guitars every single song for 100 minutes, Jim. Even the acoustic songs, Tom would swap out an acoustic and it's all real and it's all classic. And it's just, I'm like, pretty sure I saw $15 million worth of guitars tonight.
Oh yeah.
and their approach was on point.
My family has a connection to Tom Petty's second wife, Dana. Her grandmother was my grandmother's best friend.
Nice.
Dana used to stay at my grandma's house. I mean, that's how close they were. Matter of fact, once she married Tom Petty, my grandma and my cousin went out to Malibu and stayed at Tom Petty's house.
What's up, Blue Box?
The last time he came around, he gave me they gave me band tickets to go see him. I had an after show pass, but the after show didn't happen. So I missed.
Mentions Jim here at the machine shop, $20 for a ticket. You're not seeing A level or B. That's kind of your C circuit.
2 hours away from me is the problem. Flint's
if you get some decent acts, but like half the time, like the bands that he'll show, I'm like, I used to play this like the Toronto and area equivalent venue of the machine shop. I used to play those myself because I would see the marquee because I'm headlining Indie Night, Jim, which is you're playing for the other bands basically, and a handful of regulars that will go to any show, but I'm looking and it's like, 2 weeks ago, George Lynch was playing here. And 2 weeks from now, whoever is playing, I was like, no, another name, type thing. Hey, Lori. Good to see you.
I wonder if they're doing it like they did down at, what do you call it? Harpo's, where there's 10 bands on the bill and they all have to sell 40 tickets to play. They get nothing.
A lot of those are, we were offered to do that at the same venue. Even the Kingston equivalent, it's ticket sales, but it depends. Like for me, Jim, it's like the Toronto one didn't make sense because we didn't have enough of following in Toronto to sell enough tickets for it to make sense, unless it was somebody we really want to play with, but that fell through. As opposed to Kingston, which was 45 minutes down the road instead of an hour and a half, like half the distance. Which makes it where more like we can put together a van load of people even and do a little shuttle service. And for that, I'm like, all right, I get to play with a band that I would go to the show anyways. And if you sell all the tickets, you will make money, let alone break even. And the promoter loves it, Jim, when I call him up or email him about 2 or 3 weeks before the show. And I go, hey, you got any more tickets?
Yeah, they love that.
I already know he's going to sell them to me cheap, so I'm making money off each one, and which took us from we weren't. I think we're second on the bill to direct support for the whatever band was.
Yeah, the more tickets you sell, the more preferred time you get.
Yeah, and it's like, we go have a great time, play open for a band that we're going to go and watch anyways. So it's win-win. Plus, it was great for getting photos and stuff because there's going to be a great lighting rig. And if you want to record
2,000 tickets at Harpo's, Bo, that's incredible. I didn't even know the place could hold 2,000.
Wow.
Harpo's back in the 80s was a jumping place. There was a show there every night, and they were good acts, They were national acts. But then the neighborhood just declined so badly around Harpo's. I mean,
pay to play such a scam. Blame Los Angeles. That's where it started. But
the only bigger scam than pay to play is pay to open for.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Battle of the Bands, where you're just playing for free.
Yeah, you get somebody like Guns N' Roses. Oh, you can open up for us. Just give us $25,000 and pay your own expenses.
Richard Nang says, I want to see pictures of Ben on stage. The longer intros, they're literally filled with photos of me on stage.
What year was that, Bo? What year did you play that regularly? Because Harpo's hasn't been a thing for a really long time. I mean, I've been there once since 2000.
And he says the Ritz was like 1,000 people. Wow.
Yeah. I've been to the Ritz.
Well, I get it though. I was like, those are awful big, like for an indie band in a way. But I get it too, because similar to like Zach Thong's hometown of Oshawa, which I saw the thing about your cousin. That's awesome, Zach. Oshawa, another factory town, like GM. That was a GM town.
Yeah.
Literally, the local hockey team's called the Generals after General Motors, for fuck's sakes.
That used to be the Flint hockey team, the Flint Generals.
right?
Back where the machine shop
And
is.
so, and of course, all the auxiliary. So you had lots of factory workers which love to go out and have a great time. So it was a great bar town to play in because they had these huge venues, and you pay your $2 or $3 to get in or whatever, and live band. Michael B.
The decline of live music at the low level really declined when the drinking and driving laws changed. Because now you couldn't go out on a Thursday night and get all fucked up and go see a band. You were risking
That
losing.
and banning smoking in the venues.
That hurt a lot of people too.
Like that killed us too, because that was the early 2000s, and it was just consistently narrowing down. That and lack of pay. Like literally, the bands are getting paid the same now as they were when my dad gigged the same venues 40 years ago.
Yeah. That's the problem, everybody says, "Oh yeah, you can come here and play. We'll give you, basically."
Well, that's why you come out with so few young bands. Most of it's all guys like us gigging. Let's call them dad bands, for lack of a better word, because none of them need to do it for a living. So they're like, "Oh, we're just doing it for fun. So if we break even, we're happy." Whereas I'm just like, no, I'd like to still make a living at this if I can play 3-4 nights a week. Which good fucking.
What a lot of them don't understand is if you're going to play these days in a band, you're going to play Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. You're going to play all 3 nights because otherwise you won't get a booking agent to set you up, and then you're going to rehearse 2 nights during the week. So
I get it. Yeah, no smoking, no drink. What's wrong with today's world? I know.
Yeah, it's a messed up world, Laurie. For sure. I mean, I grew up in this little town in rural Michigan, and the town had 2 bars, and one of them had live music 5 nights a week.
Right?
And the town didn't have more than 200 people in it.
Like here, like when I grew up just outside of Trenton was like 15,000 people, but there was 7 places on a Friday night with live music.
Yeah.
I want to say 5 on a Friday. Not many on Thursdays were more one-off because you couldn't get the multi-night. You played 2 nights and a matinee at the main bar Roadhouse in town, and that place held, oh shit, I'm going to say 200-300 people easy. And it's funny, my dad didn't like playing it because his dad never liked playing in town. He hated playing locally, Jim, because you could always charge about $50 more a night if you're from out of town. And plus it looks good because you're always from, they're from out of town. It's a touring band or whatever, So they would play within 50 miles so they could still drive home after the show each night. Sometimes they'd stay over if it was a matinee the next day because it wasn't worth driving back and getting enough sleep. But playing multiple nights, and they were still making, each band member was walking out with $100 a night themselves.
Yeah. And that's when $100 was good money.
Right.
Yeah, $100 today is worth what, maybe quarter what it was worth back then, half.
Yeah,
especially here in America.
Yeah, like that's if he wanted to make $300 a week gigging, that was his deal, $300 a week, because that was like a full-time job, was $300 a week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and that's when your folks owned the restaurant too, right?
That was before we had the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he quit gigging to help my mom run the restaurant. Like when there was a brief period, there was a year where she opened a restaurant. It wasn't under her name yet, like her own complete deal. It was a coffee shop diner kind of attached to a bar that was attached to a motel just outside of town type thing. DMI, you'd have to type it out, Mark. I don't know what DMI is.
$10. You made as much as Rush made in their early gigs.
Right.
$10 for the whole band. We went down to Panzer's Deli and spent all the money.
Yeah. So we had that where Dad was still gigging because, she had more staff per se, but then that lasted about a year. And then when she opened her own restaurant, own building, completely boom, 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 whatever, that's when he quit gigging. But he still stayed involved as president of the musicians local because, one, nobody else wanted to do the job. And 2, he refused to take a salary, which you're supposed to get. It's like $50 a month or something like that as president. And he's like, no, because there wasn't enough money to pay out, like whatever it was.
Yeah.
So Dutch Mill Inn, vaguely, Mark. That's before my time. I vaguely remember it. I just remember it was like kind of a sketchy bar across the street from McDonald's.
The Dutch Mill Inn.
Yeah, that was the name of the place. Yeah, which was, I think it was like a little sketchy motel that had a bar in it. Because that was the thing, every bar in Ontario had to have food, and most of them were related to like a bar in a hotel, usually downstairs of a hotel. So there's usually rooms on the second and or third floor. Which I was shocked at how many bars I went to that were set up that way, like an old downtown core type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the rooms were still available for rent. I'm like, really? Wow, like this is a dive sketchy bar to begin with. I'm like, what are those rooms like?
That's where they put up the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, gotta have some place to store that venereal disease.
Oh, well, especially the one place in town, because they had like, I think they had strippers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then the band moved in for Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
How much crossover?
Enough.
Enough. Lily's and Hamtramck.
What's up, Barf?
Is there anything in Hamtramck anymore, Bo? Hamtramck's pretty well gone once they closed the Chrysler plant. Hamtramck is where that's where the Chrysler's main manufacturer.
That would be the really old hotel, because a lot of hotels had one bar for men, one bar for women. And
really,
you play. It would be weird because the stage would be kind of in a main hallway, which nobody was in, and be the men over on one side, the women on the other. It's just very weird. And then some would be live music and strippers, because Quebec is always good for an endless supply of strippers, right, Marcel?
So, yeah, music changed since I was young. It's kind of too bad, I used to love to go to concerts back in the 70s and 80s. Back when,
like, witnessing it from what my dad was doing, I was just like, oh, that's the way to do it. But by the time I got off my ass and decided to get into it, it was way too late. But
yeah, I saw a lot of the great bands of the 70s. Few I missed, but
right.
What can you do?
I was thinking Toronto was always an expensive ticket, and it was just like it was too far to drive, find parking, and then try to drive back that night, or staying overnight. Hotels were always expensive.
Toronto's always been an expensive town.
So it wasn't worth it.
Or should we say Canada? Because that's basically all there is to Canada.
If you want, it's weird. In the 80s, there was a secondary circuit too, like London, which is halfway, between Windsor and
London. Yeah.
Right? They would get a lot of content. Like, it's sort of like, if a band's playing Detroit the first time through, they're going to play Lansing or Grand Rapids the second time through, right?
Yep. Saginaw.
Or something like.
Yep.
Same idea. London, Ottawa,
Windsor.
For some reason, Kingston was a weird place. Like, Kingston should have been a perfect venue because it's halfway between Toronto and Montreal. But whatever, and it's a university town, but there's also a lot of prisons for some reason. But
captive audience.
Not a lot, not a lot of excess income, I guess. Like, it was like good bar bands and stuff, but it wasn't a concert destination, which is surprising. I wonder why that is.
And beyond Montreal, there's Ottawa and
Ottawa, Quebec City as well.
There's another town up there, a big one.
Kingston, Penn, Hip. Which one? There's, I think, 10, and some of them have closed down just because they're so old that they realize this is inhumane just to be housed here because it was built in 1835. Yeah.
Send them to America. We got lots of prisons.
Well, we got lots too. Believe it, yeah. That was what Kingston was known for: prisons and universities. Eventually, a little behind that, and it was almost Canada's capital.
What's the difference?
And they thought about making that the capital, but then because at first they thought it'd be great, for envoys and communication, but then they realized we can see the U.S. from here. No, we're not. No, we're just gonna move it upriver a couple hours, make it a little more of a hassle in case you guys decided well, we like Ottawa, we'll take it, or Kingston for that matter.
I never realized Ottawa was so far north. It's quite a ways north, isn't it?
It is, and it's literally up a river that's just tons of cataracts and rapids and shit. So it's
that river goes a long way north.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up to Val d'Or, doesn't it? Up into that area, the Ottawa River.
It does, as I recall.
It's a long ways.
Mm-hmm. Chris says, before it gets too political, I'm looking at Bad Cat amps. Thoughts?
Bad Cat was just bought out by somebody. The new Bad Cats are not the same as the old Bad Cats. If you can get a Bad Cat amp made in 2000 to 2010, you're going to get a much better amp than a new one. Although the new amps are good too. They're not a bad thing, but I think they're a bit overpriced. I'd rather, for that kind of money, get a Soldano or something like that. Although you already got a Soldano, so I guess that, it's kind of like Matchless. They were great at one time, and then they kind of went through a transition, and they're not quite as good as they used to be, but they're still good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What model are you thinking of buying?
Good question.
And are you going to buy they're Bad Cat's known mostly for combo amps, but they do have a few heads.
Mm-hmm.
We tried invading Canada 3 times. It never ended well. That's because we used English guns.
So did we.
Yeah, but yours worked.
Well,
somebody had the brilliant idea they were going to come and take over Canada and establish their own country there, and Canada wasn't having it.
Our good friend Charles used to be a history teacher, right? And so, and is a veteran as well. Charles, our good friend Charles. So every 4th of July, he enjoys 4th of July. So I always call Happy Treason Day because it depends on the point of view. And so we always debate history, and I always throw it out there about how we burnt down the White House twice. And I said, they used to do the White House tour, and there was the extensive tour, where they take in the basement, and they still have the singed tour. And I wanted to go and just. Oh, sorry, force of habit. Sorry.
Yeah. Just because you guys couldn't escape your English bondage doesn't mean we couldn't.
No, all hail the king.
Oh, yeah.
We're not part of the Dominion anymore. It's now a Commonwealth.
And it was King James, and he was nuts.
Oh, yeah, he was nuts.
Didn't he kind of wander around the palace for 20 years at the end?
Maybe.
Where they just kind of humored him. Yes, you're king here.
Thankfully, we had Parliament fully, and, that was kind of starting to run things, which kind of helped.
Yeah. King James was not the most. It's kind of like Trump, where I think he's had a little bit of syphilis.
Marcel says, Charles a history teacher? That explains a lot. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, he and I have had a few discussions while he sipped on cold snacks, and I've partaken in lifestyle choices, and we've pontificated all kinds of world history and such. Hey, there's Lawrence. Good seeing Mr.
Hi, Lawrence.
Petrov. Happy birthday as well. It was his birthday on Friday. And
Are you going to ever make any more nice drive A pedals, Lawrence?
Maybe. Chris says probably the Cub, the 30 watt and loud.
Yeah, the Cub's a good amp. I haven't looked at the latest schematics of the recent versions of it, but I will and get back to you on that, Chris.
Matt, don't call me buddy, pal. Good to see Mr. Lawrence in here. Cooking up something new, I'm sure. Coming soon. Chris just told me something is coming out. He wouldn't tell me what it was.
It's a new phaser pedal.
Nice antidote. No, it's not a phaser. I haven't broken Lawrence yet.
I don't know what he's gonna make.
Burning something new. Me as well, Lawrence. I've been burning something new as well. I've never had sweet teeth until last week. I picked it up. It's quite a nice strain. Just saying. What? And a fellow might have sprinkled some hash in there as well prior to the show. It happens. It's the summer of hash, Jim. What can I say?
What is the funnest concert I ever got to see? Wow. I've seen some amazing ones too. Just because of how bad I wanted to see the two of them together, I think the first Page Plant concert I saw in 95 was probably meant the most to me.
Oh, by the way, hey, Terry. Terry's been here, and I totally forgot to say hey to Terry.
But early Alice Cooper stuff. I've seen so many. I've probably been to 600 concerts.
I was going to say it was probably when I took part in. That was probably the funnest. And I'm saying just because I played it, but I remember having very good. I love playing any kind of festival atmosphere because I love playing outside, and and ideally, evenings better, whatever. But I didn't mind a daytime thing because half the time, actually, I didn't mind around a 3 p.m. slot, Jim, because a fellow would show up around noon and start celebrating lifestyle choices by about noon 05, we'll say. So I'm in great shape by 3 p.m. and I'm thinking of a festival in particular because they had a shit ton of roadies and crew and stuff. So literally I would plug in a couple cables and that was it. My amp would be already set up on stage, mic'd and everything, bing, bing, bing. All right, boom, boom. And then after that, I have no plans to leaving until 10 p.m. So I'm going to wait till dinner time. That was the other thing. Get off stage at about 4. Ooh. Start smelling the food, getting barbecued for 5. All right. It was a great time.
Richard, I never saw Zeppelin. I had tickets for the 80 tour. I never saw him. I wasn't really going to concerts in 77 yet. So when I saw Page Plant, it was 1995. So it was one of those things that I'd always wanted to see. I saw him 5 times on the 98 tour, but they weren't as good in 98. They were really good in 95.
Lawrence says, I don't know if there will be another nice drive A, but there is coming shortly. The OKB X3, which has the Choya, with an active EQ, which is pretty close to the nice drive A. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
because that's what that boost is what the nice drive A was based off of.
Okay.
Plus, you have the option of the Saguaro and the Palo Verde in the same package. So, yeah, I have 2 of the 3 there. I don't have the Palo Verde. Worst concert or live train wreck. Oof, duh. I watched the band break up on stage. I was doing sound. Does that count? That was awesome. That was also the promoter of the show, Jim.
That's not good.
No. I'm like, well, that just happened. And it actually completely fractured the local music scene that never, I don't think, ever really recovered.
I saw Tesla back in 90 when Tommy left the band. I was there the next night after he had trouble in Ohio where somebody offered him drugs, which pissed off the band and kind of fractured everything. Just before the show that I saw, he cut off all his hair. And it looked like he just took scissors to it. It was terrible. And he stood on one side of the stage the whole night, and people, Jeff Keith was trying to console him, and he wasn't having none of it. He left. There were 2 more shows on the tour, and after that, he left. It was the breakup of a band. That was a train wreck.
Chris says Hole was the worst show ever. Well, see, that's your fault for going to a Hole show. See, I wouldn't be dumb enough to go to a Hole show. The only way I'm at a Hole show is I'm getting paid very well to play on the same bill as Hole. That's the only way that happens. All right, so
Terry, I think if I was going to build an amp, it would be a Marshall Major that would be reliable. I want loud as hell and clean, but reliable. The problem with the Marshall Major is they just never put strong enough transformers in, and they kept blowing up. But I think 200 watts of raw power sounds like a good amp.
Other favorite live train wreck. I'm at this show, and the stage is only about 14 inches, Jim, I'm going to say. Let's say 14 inches. They got a few wedge monitors. Opening band's playing, and it's like opening band that's set up in front of the headliners, already gear set up on stage. So, everybody's fairly close to the front of the stage, right? And I'm front row. And, we're watching them play. It's kind of punk band. And I'm watching the drummer. No, that wasn't even the punk band. That was London Swagger was the name of the band. They're kind of GNR meets Motley Crue meets the Stones all in one. It's a great band. As they're playing, and I'm watching the drummer, and he's doing one of these, like, kind of lipping at somebody, right? And out of the crowd, I don't know, the guy, like, they must have parted to see, so he had a good run. And all of a sudden, out of the crowd, this guy goes diving from the crowd, clears the fucking kit, and just tackles the drummer. And then, and immediately, guitar player puts down guitar to get in there. Singer gets in there. Bass player takes off the bass. And they're like, no. He was a biker. I'm like, damn. And I was just like, what the fuck did I just witness? And then
I saw Days of the New once where the singer was so drunk.
And they set the gear back up and they finished the set like nothing. Drummer's fucking bleeding. The other guy was not looking good either. It's just like, wow. That happened. Okay.
I saw Days of the New, and the lead singer was so drunk he barely remembered the songs. And halfway through the set, he kind of trips and falls and knocks over all the drums. God, really? I think it's extremely disrespectful for an artist to show up that intoxicated.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Lane Staley, when I saw Alice in Chains. Lawrence, they saw Dawkins in 88 when Don and George were at the end. They didn't look at each other the entire show and stayed at opposite ends of the stage. Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of the show that I saw with Tesla.
Yeah, when it's not good when the band enters from or half the band comes from one side and it's like one other guy from one side. You're like, what is going on?
This show that I saw was added really late. I barely caught it because I happened just to look at the website. So the whole place was like, it held about 2,000. There maybe were 500 people in the whole audience. So this whole disaster was taking place in an empty venue.
I love Keith's comment. Can you imagine being around people that liked Hole? Right? That's epic, Keith. That might be the comment of the night.
Yeah, that Jane's Addiction, end of Jane's Addiction was quite a debacle too.
up, Dave? 6-string singer in the house.
Well, we'll have to catch you at one of the hangs and get the full story on that one, Bo.
I think I know what the story is. Just I think the story is so good that Bo forgets that he even told the story due to things that happened in the story.
He fought off stage, never on it.
No, I have had hot mic moments. Like usually, well, in all fairness, like I used to be one of those guys that have to basically eat the mic to hear me for whatever reason. I always, like a Beta 58 style, I've always had to be right on it. And we were playing this gig, and I don't know what the mics were, but this guy's sound system was beautiful, Jim, because I could be like 2 feet off the mic, and it sounded like I was on it, which was great. So if somebody else wanted to share vocals, it worked out wonderful. What I didn't know is we're all ready to go, basically. The other guitar player is strumming. He doesn't have any sound. Can't figure out what's going on. He's looking around, and I'm noticing his patch cable's just laying on the stage below his feet. I'm like, hey, nipplehead, why don't you try plugging it in throughout the PA system? At a festival. At a fucking festival. That's the first thing you heard from the band. Yeah.
That's always impressive when the singer just berating the bass player.
And then during that set, it was an outdoor festival.
Hi, Lawrence.
The guy decided to put on a festival in his yard for his, I want to say, 40th birthday. He was recently out of the military, or he was in the process of getting out of the military. Big yard, and it was a good crowd, tons of campers and stuff. That's the key, right? The camping and stuff. And it was smart. You had like 3 or 4 porta potties there, for what they cost to rent. Perfect. And I'm playing, and I'm like, where the fuck is my singer? And he's got the wireless microphone. So he's off in the shade playing beer pong while singing. I'm like, well, that's not right. So I'm wireless too. So I walked over to some buddies that were partaking in a bong-shaped object, Jim. Now, and they're like, huh? And I'm like, all right. Yeah, I know. They're like, all right. So they're figuring. So the guy packs a bowl and he's holding it. Another guy's working the lighter. So I just have to draw on it. And as we're doing it, they're nodding their heads going, this is the best badass thing ever. And then, so I'm doing that while playing a song, which was real fun because it was riff based. It was hard. But what the hell, Yeah, it was funny as hell. I get back up the stage, look for a drink because my throat's all dry, and that was, I'm like, it's just one of those things like, why not do it? It's a fun atmosphere. The host loved it. He just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't do that in a big paying gig or something.
No, well, but one of my shticks was during one song that was very easy to play because it was basically one of the songs where like the whole bass or the verse and chorus was essentially the same riff all the way through. And so I would walk out into the crowd, through the crowd, out the venue, and then run around the side stage, get led in the door, and then come back out on stage. Hoping my guitar stayed in tune, depending on time of year. During the winter, not a smart idea. But every once in a while, the band would all of a sudden stop, and then I'd still be playing at stage volume by myself when I entered the venue. And I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers. Or the door would get, like, somebody forget to open the door. So I'm, like, kicking on the fucking door, but nobody can hear it because there's a live band playing. Not saying it was Mark Taft's job to keep the door open, but no. I won't blame Taft. Can't do it.
Was that at the machine shop again, Bo?
Broke his E string and he was in drop C, top up, no backup guitar. We had to wait for this morning to replace a string on stage. Yeah. My dad would play it up, Jim. He'd be, get this, folks. Oh, this is a rare occasion. You get some inside knowledge on how to change a guitar string. Yeah, and he would walk you through it. Blah blah blah. He would talk you through. That's how he got through it. Me, backup guitar.
I've watched some pretty creative ways of people changing strings that didn't ruin the show. I've watched one guy continue to play while his roadie put on the string. That was impressive.
That is. It's funny. He has a roadie, but he doesn't have a backup guitar. That's an odd one. Not gonna lie.
Welcome to the modern music industry. Can afford a roadie, but can't afford a guitar.
Yeah, like anything will work as a backup. It just has to.
Oh, at the Token Lounge. Okay. Well, that's a fucking dive anyway.
That's one of
That's the only place with rougher carpets than Harpo's. The problem with the Token Lounge is it's not a bad place. It's kind of old and grungy, but the problem is they'll sell tickets until they don't sell anymore. They'll pack in 1,000 people in a venue that holds 500. You know, and if you're like this, and you can't get to the bathroom, and then they turn the PA up to such a point it's painful.
Michael Cross saw Tony Race break a string. He told a story while it changed it. Exactly.
Yeah, you can change a string on stage if you do it right. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and if I only have one guitar, I'm going to have that spare pack of strings sitting right there, like on my amp, just in case.
Not only is the stage low, so is the ceiling.
Seems like that. I thought so from what the videos.
The ceiling's like right about here. If you jump up, you're going to bash yourself into the lights.
I'm pretty sure Bo's part of the Polish Mafia. I'm just saying it right now.
Well, if he hangs out in Hamtramck, he's got to be part of the Polish Mafia. Hamtramck was Polish town.
Lee says you need at least 5 guitars and a full stack to get a roadie.
No, that's 2 roadies.
How about 3 guitars, a pedal board, and a half stack? Because I had Taft for years. Of course, he was unpaid labor.
Last night at the Token, who was playing?
How did you figure it out? You're not subtle, Bo. Yeah, I think half the time Mark was just happy to get into a show for free. That's how he's like, I'll lug your gear, but I get in for free, right? I'm like, yep, because you're with the band. You know, I'm like, if anyone hassles you, just tell them you're with the band. Okay. And he's like, is that okay with the rest of the guys? I'm like, yes, because you're with the band.
I'm with the band, dude.
That's what he would say.
Like I said, I don't hate the Token Lounge. I just wish you wouldn't crowd it quite so bad and maybe clean the floors once in a while.
Clean floors is nice.
I mean, in the bathrooms, might as well be at CBGB's, you know, they're nasty.
You hope the venue has some form of a dressing room, grading room, whatever you want to, like a space where you can go and so you're not like hanging out in the crowd waiting to go on stage.
I think for the Token Lounge, it's just out back. They've got just an area fenced off. I don't think they have a dressing room.
That sucks.
But I could be wrong. I've never been backstage.
A lot of places I played, they never had a place either. So like we usually just hang out outside. Fortunately, you know, good weather. Just hang out outside with your vehicles or whatever. Plus, we had a trailer with us, so we didn't even hang it in our little trailer. It's just didn't have any windows or ventilation, so there was that. But that was always nice. I do remember playing when we played the Rock Pile in Toronto. It was like George Lynch had played there 2 weeks earlier. I'm like, so where's the green room? Like, oh, we don't have a green room for you. I'm like, bullshit. There's a green room here. I'm like, George Lynch doesn't play places without green rooms very often. It's like. So they
it's to the right of the stage.
Room for us. Plus, I knew
Yeah,
it was an
that's
old Mother Pizzeria, which always had a banquet room of some kind.
I don't know. I bet it's a pretty
clean venue if it's called the Rat, Mike. I'm just saying. Lee says I need a roadie for life, right?
So why are you going to all these shows, Bo? So that you can kind of get in with the bands to figure out who's going to play your place coming up?
I think it's just an excuse to get out of the house.
Yeah, probably.
And he's going hanging out with his daughter quite often. I don't know how often. Or maybe he's going with other people now. I don't know. So it's not a dirty dressing room. Right.
Okay.
But does it have a dressing room? Is even a dirty dressing room is better than no dressing room? I like the place where I can keep my shit during a show. Fortunately, more often than not, my girlfriend was with me show. So I'm like, here's my cell phone, here's my wallet, here's my keys. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want all this shit on me when I'm on stage. That's why, Zach, if there's a presence, they won't be around.
Oh, nice. Always like the asbestos flakes.
Yeah, nothing says rock and roll like asbestos flakes.
Mesothelioma in the making.
So all you need to do, Bo, is find out who they're using for a booking agent. That's the person you need to talk to. What's up, D. White Bailey?
How is your music venue going, Bo? Are you going to open one, or is it just kind of on hold for a while?
He has one he's paying rent on, and it's just sitting there empty. I'm saying this so he'll get moving on it. Although, he may have more free time for that now. I don't know. He's got the pizzas figured out, though. I'm not saying for about 2 or 3 months straight, I watched every post show on a Monday. He's making a pizza. Figure it out.
Hi,
Jeff K in the house. Good to see you. And Dwight Guitars.
Besides, nothing like a nice hot groupie. Okay.
Apparently, Chris forgets last Monday's conversation, Jim. I'm just saying. He says, what's your next guitar purchase?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't listen. I was going to say, Jim might build a guitar, but he's not buying one.
No, not buying a guitar. I'm not building a guitar right now either. I don't need another guitar. Do I want another guitar? Yes, but I don't need another guitar. Like the old...
It's actually pizza, yum, man. Yeah, pizza and pierogies. Seriously, he's talking pizza and pierogies. I'm like, okay, Chris says, I didn't forget. Has it subleased until March, and then I take over, had to stop because of cash flow. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
that's what you get when you're
getting married.
Custom shop Les Pauls. Cash flow problems.
Well, there's that. Yeah, you paid for a wedding. There's that. And then he did order a few Murphy Labs and about 6 fucking Kiesels for some reason.
And he had that internet hookup problem. That probably cost him a fortune.
Always something. I can't do Kiesels, Lee. Just can't do it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the guy who treats his customers kind of
They're
like
the Chris Robinsons of the guitar industry.
Yeah.
Now, that said, Johnny Highland has nothing but love for them. I'm like, well, they treat their stars right, I'm sure. Focus on the band now, right?
Thanks,
You
Michael.
had a bass player. I remember Bo had a bass player. His brother can play drums. So there's the band. You should be rehearsing weekly.
I can ease your cash flow problem, Bo, if you sell me that nice drive, eh?
Which one, right? He has.
I know, he's got extras. He just ain't giving them up.
Right.
He's a hoarder.
So true.
I don't need another.
I was playing with Kramer the other night. I might play it tomorrow night if it's still in tune. Took me fucking forever to tune it. God, I hate tuning Floyd Rose guitars.
Why? It's not that hard.
It is that hard.
Well, I guess it depends on how well you have it. You have it set up full flow?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I say pretty much because the trim stop is just there because I could hear it too often go clink, like when it would release. So I have it backed off just a bit. So you can use the detuna and it's still okay. What's up, Pops? The one and only Quentin James. You guys got to stop using so much wah, Quentin. Why all the wah? You're using all the wah on YouTube. Between you and Steve, all the wah. Jeez, all the wah.
Yeah, when I had a Floyd Rose, I set it up for full flow. It probably was a mistake. My problem is I learned to play guitar without any kind of wang bar. So everything I learned was left hand bending.
Right.
And that's not how you play a Floyd Rose. You bend with the bar, not with your fingers.
And if you bend with your fingers, you better have all the other 5 strings muted.
Correct. That was my problem. I was always, I'd
why
be playing
phantom detuning sounds.
Yeah. Or at least hold on to the bar so that the bridge doesn't move. I mean, but the bar is required to do that kind of stuff. I was terrible with
I know 10 good licks. Wah gives me 20 good licks. Well, I know 4 good licks, and I don't use a wah. So there's that. But then
between you
know all kinds of theory and stuff. It's like going to school. I should hit Quentin up for lessons sometime.
He needs to go on Chat with Chuck.
I think he's done chatting with Chuck.
Has he? I didn't see it.
No, I think he has. Jeff K says, played a World Ballroom with 2 other bands back in the day. A blizzard blew in while the gig was happening. Ended up sleeping in a booth overnight. We drank the bar dry as compensation. Nice. Yeah. Last time I played the Rock Pile, we were headlining an indie night. And it started to snow, and I thought, this isn't good. And then it was not quite blizzard, but heavy enough that it really hurt the turnout. And then we had what should have been a 2.5 hour drive home was, I want to say, at least 3.5, if not 4 hours. Because the venue's in the west end of Toronto, which just sucks. So we had to get through. Just getting through Toronto took an hour.
Oh, I bet.
Oh. Fortunately, we were right off a highway. It was like half a mile up to an on-ramp. What's up, Eric? A while longer here, folks. Keep those questions, comments, and concerns coming on in. Should mention, week from tonight, we got Simon Hosford returning. That should be fun. Going to talk about his upcoming European tour. What's up, Eddie Van Haskell? I'll be back tomorrow night with Canucks with Guitars. Oh, I got to get a special guest co-spot person for Bad Album Covers because we don't have a Chuck tomorrow.
Well, not me. You need somebody funny.
Less jaded.
Jaded. I usually go dark with those things.
This is the thing. Like, to get those reactions, like a Charles-style reaction, we need someone with
BC Rich is your man. That's the one you should get on.
Rob, Are you available to do tomorrow's show? Are you still in the chat? That would actually be a great. Hey, there's Brian. That's why we have the Charles facepalm emoji available. Because of that.
Doesn't look like he's here anymore.
Yep. I'm still in the chat and I can do it tomorrow. Yes.
There, perfect. See?
I will be sending you the link 15, 20 minutes before the show if you want to jump on and just hang out in the green room during the show. That'd be awesome. Plus, of course, stick around for the post-show hang. And we got a Water Buffalo meeting coming up this Wednesday. You're right, Marcel. Thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate
okay.
that.
Cool.
Because it is the third Wednesday. That's right. I'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. The link will be posted where the link's usually posted. I forgot about that. Thank you for that, Marcel. Aggressive, I'll be good and angry. I've just priced the strings for my new bass. I have the feeling his new bass isn't the scale length of a cheap string. Hey, it's Trav! You're live! Yay!
Yay.
And yes, Matt should have a new guitar tomorrow.
Ooh, what you getting, Matt? What you getting? What you getting?
You know that guitar I showed off on Monday? Same thing.
Oh, it's Gretsch month.
Well, you may have recalled after. Oh, it's too late. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, you may recall the post show when people were searching for that guitar and couldn't find it. I may have relayed that to Matt, and he's like, on it. So it may have been partially bought out of spite, but he also got a really nice deal on it too.
Oh, to tie that together with the Neil Young story.
Apparently, it's the same color, but the photos look more red, so we'll see.
To tie that to the start of this thing, Neil Young, sometime earlier this year, found his original Gretsch that he played in the Squires. He brought it out on stage at Cleveland the other night.
Nice. Did he play White Falcon?
No.
Oh.
He played Les Pauls all night. Les Pauls and his D45.
His D45 or Hank Williams' D45?
I think it was the D45 he probably got when he was in Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Okay. Because I know for years there, he was actually gigging Hank Williams. Oh, no, that was Hank's 28. That's what it was.
Yeah, he has that's a HD 28. Yeah, that's a nice herringbone. But no, he played the D45. I could tell by the thing. Sounded good though. I mean, even then, D45s were expensive and special.
Oh hell yeah!
268. Who was it that went out and bought those for all three of them? Everyone in the band got a D45.
Sounds like something Steven's
to start. It could have been. That's where he got his Gretsch from, the White Falcon. He bought it. He traded Stephen Stills for that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Waddy Wachtel got his 59 Les Paul from Stephen Stills too.
Rob says $85 for 2 sets of strings and not counted on that. Wow.
Ouch.
That's twice what I pay.
That's the cheapest you could get them through, like.
They sound like they're hard to get. I only had like 2 or 3 sets in stock. Seems odd. Hey, at least you can get them in stock. I got a special order my strings too because they don't carry them in stock at the local music store.
Well, Guitar Man, a White Falcon close up looks horrible anyways. It's nothing but a big piece of chintzy ass plastic.
I like everything about it but the headstock.
I mean, all that orange sparkle and everything. It was just a bunch of
I love
plastic
that.
pieces glued onto a guitar.
Oh, I like that abomination. I'm okay with that. It's that huge Dean base. It's basically a Dean headstock on a Gretsch.
Yeah.
Shocking, the 5-string double ball and bass strings would cost that much. I know there has to be at least 3 other people on the planet playing them. Right? That's the problem.
Oh, it's a double ball end. Okay. I see.
So they are a specific string set. Yeah.
You needed it for a headless guitar? Because typically that's what uses the double ball end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year I had one of the acts at the show I worked at leave 5 sets of D'Addario 10s behind. So I've been tapping those this year.
Richard
D'Addario vacuum packs, whatever, so they're always fresh. I've never had a bad set of D'Addarios.
Doing anything to my new Gretsch? Nope. No. I'm gonna restring it soon, but beyond that, no. Like, just give it a good cleaning, restring it. I like the way the pickups sound, so I'm not touching them. Like, if they're at factory height, fine. If they're not, whatever. I like the way it sounds. Check intonation and stuff, but the action's sweet the way it is, so I'm not going to touch that. I think it has a set of 10 through 46s on it, so I'm going to go with 9 through 46. And then I think on the other Gretsch, that's a hollow body, I want to go with a wound G, so that'll be a set of 11s. I want to say 11 through 49, maybe 11 through 52, probably 49. I don't need a whole lot more up there. Then again, maybe I'll go with a 52. I'm not sure. I got to see what the set with the wound G is, and if they have them available in the coating, like the XS series that I like. They're going to cost a fucking fortune.
You play coated strings, Ben?
Yes. Have for years.
Any for a particular reason, like sweat or something, or you just prefer them?
No, I can leave a guitar out on a rack for a year and the strings are okay. If I do that with regular Ernie Ball or D'Addario, chances are you're going to have rusty strings. Or dead or something. Just because I'm in a basement. It's high humidity, low humidity. It has all 4 seasons. So the coated strings, they just last a long time. And I find, they cost 2.5 times the price, but they last 4 to 5 times longer, I'd say.
I just don't like the sound of them. I think they sound dead.
I don't hear a tonal difference. And it's not like elixirs where they'll turn into dandruff all over my guitar too in 5 minutes. These,
I don't like that either.
Yeah, you can't tell the XS is coated. I got Ken turned on to them, and I think Chris as well. I'm not sure. A few people got turned on to them. Well, I swear by them now. I was shocked, and I hated coated strings.
You could probably end up getting those kind of strings direct from the manufacturer. Pretty simple, Rob.
Well, yes and no, Jim. I do know, the vice president of accessories at D'Addario, but getting anything from him is impossible. Let's just say we'll leave it at that for now. Have I tried the coated string joys? No, I don't even know where you get string joys, Michael Krause. So Zach likes the XS's.
You'll enjoy that Led Zeppelin.
Because the coated strings I can do a pick slide on, and they still stay coated. That's the crazy. Yeah, there you go. Chris is the same. He's switching over.
Which classic amp topology speaks to my soul? Oh, I love Fender, early Fender amps. For some reason, I just like that bottom and top end that they have. Personally, I prefer the Brown series, but I don't have a problem with the Tweeds or early Blackfaces either. Even some Silverface. I played a Silverface Vibrolux that was just a kill for. So my favorite topology would be a Fender style amp with the old style phase inverter, the concertina, rather than a long-tailed pair.
I want to try an old Princeton because I like new Princetons. So I have a feeling I like old Princetons better.
You know, the thing about a lot of the old amps, sometimes you need to put a different speaker in it to get them to really sing, because a lot of the old speakers were terribly inefficient.
Right. The one that I used, it's the Tweed 65 reissue with the Cannabis Rex. That just sounds tits. That's why I use it in all my demos. Because any guitar I plug into it sounds good.
Yeah.
And I can't say that with other amps. Okay, Ed. Yeah, not a lot of coded options with a wound G, it seems. Yeah, that's what I thought. If Dodaro, I know Dodaro makes non-coded ones, but I need coded if possible.
Bo, if you're interested in Fender amps, I highly recommend the very early Silver Faces. They're still available for good price.
Well, he's gonna buy all new. Come on, you know that, Jim.
Still have blackface electronics in them, even though they had silver face dress up.
He's not going to buy vintage. He's going to buy new. You know that. He buys nothing but new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the new Fender amps. I just don't think I don't like printed circuit boards if I don't need them.
Right.
You know, the thing about new Fender amps, they cost as much as the vintage ones. You might as well go get yourself one that's vintage.
Holy crap on the cracker. A Blues Junior is over almost 1,200 Canadian.
God, I paid $300 for my first Blues Junior.
Right. Hell, that Princeton I play through, it's 2,300.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And I'm like, okay, you know, even with conversion rate, that's still going to be a good 17, 18 US, Jim. And
yeah.
So you're pushing, $2,000 with tax, and it doesn't keep up with a fucking drummer. A $2,000 amp is a practice amp for all intents purposes.
Bring it on over. I'll set it up for 6550s. Put out 100 watts, no problem. Of course, we'll have to butcher it, but
Well, there's that.
The Blues Deluxe is a really good amp. The only thing I don't like about them is they're heavy.
That was Mark's problem, not my problem.
But the Blues Deluxe sounds nice. I like it better than a Blues Junior. The nice thing about a Blues Junior is you could hear it over a drummer. I remember I took it to a band practice one time, and they were all laughing at me like, what are you going to do with that little thing? So I crank it up. We start playing. They go, okay, you can turn that down now. So I told you.
You would like a twin, Richard, because one side's going to be a bassman, and the other side's... What is the other side, Jim? The left side is usually a bassman, right? It's just a 3-knob bassman.
No, a twin is a totally different design. It's a very clean design amp. It's got a lot of headroom.
Right.
It wasn't
but
meant to be...
but it's like a bassman channel on one side, and then the other side is whatever the twin is.
It's a bright channel.
Right.
Basically, they have a bright channel.
And Blue Mox, when did you miss that? Yeah, Randall Smith, he was let go shortly after the acquisition. Basically, they kept around long enough to find out how everything was up and running, and then he left. He was just there as a consultant for only like a few months.
I think he wanted out. I think the whole reason he sold it is he wanted to retire.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the only problem with a Fender Twin, in my opinion, is it's hard to get to that point of breakup so that you can use pedals with it and overdrive it simply, because by the time you get there, you're already at just ear-splitting volumes.
Mm-hmm.
If you play clean, a Fender Twin's your gig.
Yes, Lee, it's 40 watts. Blues Deluxe is 40 watts.
Yes.
Eric says my 410 Hot Rod DeVille was nice before it quit on me. I bet. Heavy as fuck. 410 combo amp.
Yeah, those 410 Hot Rod DeVilles. I have a 410. It's a Fender Concert from 1960. Fortunately, the cabinets were a little lighter back then because they were all pine rather than plywood.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still heavy. I like 410s for guitar. I think it sounds great.
I need to get some 10s. I'm just using 12s. Traditionally, I've mostly used 12s for my sound, but I want to play
Heaviest amp for the size, that would be a 5150 combo.
Oof.
There ain't no that. Holy shit. That thing weighs up like 115, 120 pounds. It's got two 12s in it and a cabinet that's this thick. It just, you can't even lift it. You need two people to haul a 5150 around. Combo,
Michael,
not that combo.
Says, Jay Maskus aims a twin at his head as a monitor. He learned that from the Allman Brothers. I remember seeing an Allman Brothers like rig rundown like years ago. Well, not even that's what a rig rundown is. Like I was watching a thing on the Allman Brothers, and because that was I noticed was the drummers each had a fucking Fender amp wedged next to them as a monitor. I'm like, holy shit! How loud are you when you need to use Fender amps as monitors?
Wow.
But it makes sense because then you have independent volume too. So you needed more, fucking turn it up more.
No, Rob, 5150 combo amp makes an SVT bass head seem light. I've had messed with both, and 5150 combo amp is way heavier. Now, if you get an SVT with the matching cab, yes, I'm with you. But I'm telling you, you've never seen. There's a reason why. One of the guys that I jam with had one. You know what he did to it? He took it out in the garage and literally blew the thing up so he would never have to haul it around again.
We're at Customer Appreciation Day at Long McQuaid when you're Taft and I, Jim, and I saw one, and it was on the floor. So I'm like, hey, Mark, yeah, pretty cool. He's like, oh, 5150, cool. You know, he's familiar with the brand and stuff. Yeah, try picking it up. Huh? What the hell? Was it glued to the floor? I'm like, you think so, right?
Yeah.
What's up, Vox Guitars Rock?
I'm telling you, once you see one of those and it messed with it, you never want them again. They sound great. Yeah, they sound okay, but they aren't worth the haul. Mm-hmm. What year Fender Concert do you have, Richard? Do you have the blackface or the brown, or do you have the later era red knob version?
That's what I'm afraid of with the twin. Any preference between aux box, Fryette, or two notes? No. Not really.
I don't use any of those things.
No, neither do I.
So I really can't give you any advice on that.
Fryette seems to, definitely, I would say, has a great rep, and the aux box. Some people use. I think RJ has one. Baker might also use an aux box.
So does Pete. Pete has an aux box.
Yeah, and the two notes. I'll go with the two notes because they're Canadian. I think they're involved with Rev.
I use an attenuator, and with my Randall, I have a 60-watt Randall that I used an attenuator with, but it's basically just a TH.
Mark remembers this. Yeah, that amp was heavy for sure, right?
Yeah, that's the amp I'm talking about, Mark. The 5150 combo. They're just absolute nightmare.
Matt would go with the aux box. I think the aux box was more limiting than the other two. Like the two notes, you can put more IR synthetic bullshit into it. I don't know.
But didn't the aux box get a revision too, where they updated it where it was a little more versatile?
Maybe. Because I just remember just had whatever knobs were there, that's what you had. I could be wrong though. Because I don't really pay attention to that stuff a whole lot.
So, Richard, what year is your 4x10 concert? Is it one of the brown face ones, or was it the first
later era?
The red. Okay.
No, not the red.
Okay, not the red.
Early 2000s.
Okay. That would have been a Rivera era amp if it was 2000s.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's what I don't know what your mine is. I know my Blues Deluxe is old enough that everything is US made, including the amp slip cover is even US made. I'm like, wow, they didn't even outsource that yet.
Yeah. Matt says the Ox box has been updated. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you were saying. What for a concert? They made basically 3 main concerts at different eras. Even though yours doesn't have the red, it's still that basic red faced era design. Mm-hmm. They made a brown amp, which went through 1 revision, and then in the blackface era, they did 1 year of blackface concerts. Then they discontinued it for the Super.
Right.
The concert became the Super until Fender sold in the early 80s, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, when they sold back to the employees.
Yeah. Yep.
84, 85.
That's when they reintroduced the concert. Yeah, something like that. And it was early 90s when the first red face stuff came out, and when they had like the Jam amp and that whole set of amps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 Notes is built into your rev because I think they're the same company. Yeah. Or there's some overlap in ownership or something to that effect.
Woo! 2x12 with a EV speakers. I bet you that would have been loud and heavy.
Yeah, that's fairly new, isn't it, Richard? The early 70s Spaceman 10.
That would have been the white. That would have been a silver face, early 70s.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, the Baseman 10 was an odd duck in their line. I like the early 70s. Oh, yeah. All the pounds. I mean, if you look, Fender historically has been a combo amp manufacturer. They've done some heads, but for the most part, they're known for combo amps, where some people like High Watt and Marshall and all the other ones, they were known as heads and cab.
I wish Fender did more head and cab combos.
Yeah, really, they only had a few. Baseman went to it for a while. They had what's the one that they did originally? Music Master or something like that back in the Bandmaster. That's it. They did the Bandmaster was the first one.
All right, I need a Princeton head, and then I can just plug it into different size speakers and see what I like.
Well, you can do that. Yeah, I mean, there's people who make cabs for you. All you have to do is just buy a regular Princeton and pull out the chassis and put it in a new head. That's what I did with my Randall. I had a Randall head that was blown up, and I had a Randall combo that I didn't like toting around, so I pulled the good chassis out of the combo, put it in the head, and then I turned the combo amp into a 1x12 cab.
Perfect. Oh, the Supersonic.
Oh, yeah, that was later though. Fender did make some heads, but they're not known for heads. You know, when people talk about Fender amps, they're almost always talking combos.
Oh, what the hell was the one my buddy Rex has? Something 75. What the hell? Something 75 Fender head. Oh, I can't remember. It'll come to me. Probably worth 3. Perfect.
Silver face era. That was the problem that everybody complained to Fender about. They kept wanting to make everything cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, and everybody said, "No, that's not what we want. We want dirtier and dirtier."
Exactly. Yeah. Or were they really thinking forward? You go, it'll be a great pedal platform. What the fuck's a pedal?
Yeah. By 1971, they were using what they call an ultra linear design. It's where you hook up the screens of the output tubes to the output transformer, and it's kind of a negative feedback kind of thing done through the tubes. And it was really hard to get them to distort, but they'd play loud as hell. That's not what people.
Just the head, Matt. Or is a 115 cab or a 212 cab? Yeah, like Super 75, I want to say, or something like that. Fender's allowed, and I like it.
Supersonic 1x12 with a loud electrical hum. What year was that? Would have been, depends on the year. I'd say yes. It could probably be fixed for less than $100 right now with loud electrical hum. I'd say you probably need to do a cap job on the power supply, and it'd probably take care of most of it. But I can't tell you that for sure without looking at it and seeing what's wrong with it. I mean, if it's got a blown transformer, that's a little more expensive. But you could put something like a Hammond transformer, replacement transformer in it, and be fine.
'80s.
Yeah, those those late era champs were really good amps.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, I like them.
Good enough, Joe Walsh. Just play the hell out of a champ. Makes for a great tone.
Yeah, I knew about the Showman. The Showman's where they started it out. They made that one. The Supersonic was a little later. The Bandmaster was still fairly early. I didn't know they made a deluxe reverb that was a head. And the Bassman. They also made Bassmen that were heads.
Yeah. What do you want a Mr. Scary mod for, Bo? That's what I want to know. You got pedals, you got a Helix, you got all this effects system. Why do you want to put in Mr. Scary? Well, he wants to know if it'd be safe to put in his TSL 100 or his JCM 2000.
Yeah. That's the TSL. Is a JCM 2000. There's a DSL and a TSL.
Right.
Well, it's probably safe to put in there, and those amps have absolutely the worst resale value on the planet. The TSLs especially. It's up to you, if you want to try it.
I think it just goes into the number one slot.
I think there's an extra tube stage on on that amp that they just wire in there and add it in. I think there's one tube preamp tube they're only using half of in the design. I'd have to look up the Mr. Scary mod. Let me write that down.
As we're it just looks like two tubes plugged into a 2-into-1 setup to go into one tube socket.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Please hit that like, folks.
On Wednesday at the Hang, if you want to ask me about it then, I'll know more. I'll tell you whether I think it's a worthy thing or if it's going to booger your amp or whatever.
Right. Well, we gone almost 2 hours here, Jim. Just like that. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Enjoyed it. We finally did talk about amps at the end, I guess.
Well, we had a good hang. That's what it's all about.
I wanted to talk about concerts.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be about
talking about concerts. Definitely. Yeah. First Marshalls were based on Basement. Yep.
Sure were. The JTM 45 was based on a 59 Bassman.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, my Fender concert, my brown face concert, is exactly a 59 Bassman with brown face specs. Nice. It's the same circuit. It's really weird. It's a 4x10, just like the Bassman was. It has the exact same transformers as a 59 Bassman. That's why it's valuable. No, everybody wants the transformers because they blow them out of their basement. They steal them from a brown face concert.
Excuse me.
Because it's the only one that uses the force.
One of the benefits of membership is you get to badger Jim with amp questions at any given Buffalo meeting.
Yeah, I will look that up for you, Bo.
So, just a reminder, Water Buffalo meeting this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern at Video Hang for channel members and patrons. Always fun, always educational, always full spectrum. Right, Matt? He knows what I'm talking about.
The hangs are worth the money.
They are
worth the membership right there.
They are.
You get two of them a month, and you get to talk with all the other geeks like us.
Everyone that's got a toque in the chat, you get to talk with them, basically. I'm just saying. So, on that note, hold the line here, Jim. Jim's been Jim. I've been me. Y'all have been y'all. We'll see you tomorrow with Connects with Guitars. And then a week from tonight, we got Simon Hosford, unless he reschedules for the third time. I don't know. He's a rock star. He's busy. He's got a tour coming up. I get it. So, as always, hold the doors open. Let Steve razor. Steve, let Steve in ahead of you in traffic. Why don't you? He'd be appreciative about it. Happy tone chasing, of course. Karma is real. Oof, I know. There's a reason why Doug's all gray and I'm not, because karma is real. Happy tone chasing, and of course, don't litter.